bookworms! Today is, I don't actually know what day this is going up. I think it's going up Friday, which means that it is the 29th of December. We have 2 days left in 2017, which is kind of crazy. I wanted to film a review for you. I wanted to film it yesterday, which would have been the 27th, which would have been perfect, but we can still film this and have it be in honor, and that is going to film the review of Carrie Fisher's The Princess Diarist. I've been talking a lot about this book on social media, always posting pictures of it and my reactions to it. I think it's in here backwards. But The Princess Diarist is the sort of reaction that Carrie Fisher had to finding her journals from Star Wars. She had put them somewhere in her house, like in the floorboards, like really the cliche, like you put them in the floorboards and you find them. Whether or not that part was true, I don't know. But this is the book, and inside it's separated into 3 parts. The first part is leading up to her time in Star Wars and talking about her time before Star Wars and the very beginning of it. And then the middle section is diary entries from those diaries. Now, I don't know if they were edited or if they were just left, but they are a series of like poems and reactions to things to working Star Wars and her relationships with the people in the cast. And then the last section is 40 years after. Now, this came out last year, a month before she passed, so there were some things that were really heartbreaking to read, where it was like, I can't wait to be able to do this, maybe I'll go to more cons, maybe I'll do more of this, more of that. And it was heartbreaking knowing that those things weren't going to happen because she has moved on into whatever afterlife that she believed in. So this is the book with the dust jacket on. On the back, it is one of the poems. I guess it was all going just a little too well, as if I wasn't careful, I'd be happy pretty soon. Heaven's no place for one who thrives on hell, one who prefers the bit to the silver spoon. Then just when I'd almost revived myself to winning, when it seemed my bright future would never dim, and my luck looked as though it was only beginning, I met him. And that's just one of the poems that's in here. I read that awfully because it's cursive, and I'm really bad at reading cursive. But this is the dust jacket, and then without it, it's really simple. It is just book and her embossed signature. And then the end pages are pictures of the journals. So it's really simple and beautiful. My reaction to it was a lot of like bittersweetness to it. I know a lot of people went into this thinking it was going to be all about Star Wars, and my reaction to it was more of a behind the scenes of the behind the scenes. So it wasn't like, oh, all space buns and Jabba the Hutt and space bikinis. Those were a part of it, but it was mainly about her emotional reaction to it and what it was like being in Britain and having dropped out of school to do this movie, and how she didn't think it was going to get anywhere, and pretty much being on her own in an adult society, and how she cultivated these relationships and whether or not they were healthy and things like that. I gave it a 4 stars, 4-star review on Goodreads. It did make me cry several times. One thing when it made me like really sad wasn't even like the actual book, it was the acknowledgments to the book. One of the first things she said was, for my mother, for being too stubborn and thoughtful to die. I love you, but that whole emergency almost dying thing wasn't funny. Don't even think about doing it again in any form. Which, if you know Carrie Fisher, her mother passed away, and then 2 days later she passed away, and it's like a theory that she died of a broken heart. She had some sort of heart trouble when she passed. So yeah, I thought this book was, well, it wasn't what many people thought it was going to be. I found it very enlightening. It's always very interesting to read about the emotional backgrounds of people while they do things that people love, especially like Star Wars. and seeing how those relationships carry on throughout the years, because so many people don't carry on those relationships that they have. So it was really nice to see how those relationships developed and where they continued to. I will say that most of the book was focused on, the relationships were focused on Harrison and Carrie, because it is revealed in the book that they did have an affair. So a lot of these poetry entries are her emotionally dealing with the fact that she's having an affair with a married man who's older than her, and all of these things, and where she felt like she should have been more attracted to Mark Hamlin and all of those things because he was younger and he was free and all of that sort of thing. While it did reveal all these like awful things that she did and how it wasn't good, she in no way claimed that she was doing the right thing. She knew from day one she wasn't doing the right thing, and it showed that she was a flawed human, and that's something that we need to see in society, is that celebrities aren't these perfect people, and she in no way wanted to have people think she was a perfect human. And I think that resonated with me with this book, was she's flawed. She was flawed, but she was still a beautiful human in what she did and how she acted. And that was kind of my biggest takeaway from the book. Was even your life heroes are not perfect. So, yeah. I would definitely suggest this to any Star Wars fan. Like, even though it is a memoir and things, and it's her diary entries, and the middle portion, while interesting, it wasn't the thing that carried the most for me. I definitely think that if you have any interest in Star Wars or Carrie Fisher, you should definitely read it and get that background on her life, because it brought up many things within it, like sexual things in Hollywood and what it's like being a young actress and things like that that are always good to know, especially now. But it's nice to see. It's refreshing, and it's not in a derogatory way in any way. So yeah. I definitely would suggest the Carrie Diarist, or the Princess Diarist, not to be confused with the Princess Diaries. I would say that this was one of my favorite books of the year, just for how it made me feel, which was a lot. It made me feel a lot. So, it was a pretty headshot of Carrie. Yeah. I miss her a lot. I cried a lot during the new movie. I might have just, like, immediately cried as soon as she stepped up screen. Because I'm a wimp. And I miss her. And all that she did. Okay, so my next video will be up after the new year. So, all of my social media links will be down below. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and I have an email, and my blog is down there, where I will be posting my most anticipated reads of 2018 sometime in the first week of the new year. Alright. I think that's it. I'm gonna go. I hope you had a wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate, and happy new year. Bye!
You were too much, then all at once you were just enough. You're just right, you're the perfect temp in my coffee cup, when I've overslept. You are complete, the final chord in the even beat. You're the perfect rhyme in the perfect time. Please can I make you mine?